Yesterday, Kristin Johnson stepped down as the second to last commissioner at the CFTC, and now there's just one. If that doesn't raise alarm bells for you about the state of crypto and the state of the Democratic Party, let me unpack for you why. This isn't just sleepy inside the Beltway chatter. This is a flashing warning sign about how Democrats are on track to lose again in 2026, unless they start making some deep changes and admitting to their past mistakes. Who am I to do the unpacking? I'm Hermine, former SEC, former White House, and former Coinbase, and now I teach crypto law at UC Berkeley Law School. We're gonna break down three things. One, why Johnson's departure is really a reflection of the dumpster fire that's going on at the CFTC. Two, how to signal for everything that's wrong with crypto right now. And three, why this is really the Democrats' problem that they created, and yet they still show no signs of life to win back the voters that they lost in 2024. First, Johnson's departure and the CFTC dumpster fire. The CFTC, which stands for the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, is supposed to have 5 commissioners. Today it has just one, acting chair Carolyn Pham. And in the CFTC's 50-year history, that has never happened. And Carolyn Pham has already committed not to serve out her term, which ends in 2027, and instead leave the moment that the new chair is confirmed. No matter how you slice it, the CFTC is only going to have one commissioner for the foreseeable future. And to do any real work, the CFTC needs at least quorum so the commission can vote on anything. That means 3 out of the 5 commissioners. Otherwise, the CFTC can't vote to do any enforcement, can't vote to issue new rules. It's so absurd right now that the CFTC can't even vote to publish anything into the Federal Register, the federal government's official publication on how it communicates with the public. Now, add to the logistical absurdity of this is some of the personnel absurdity, because Brian Quintenza's nomination to become chair has been stalled out. Stalled out because of his ties to prediction markets. Those are the betting platforms where people can place bets on anything from elections to when Taylor Swift is going to get pregnant. Quintenza sits on the board of one of them. Before he'd even been confirmed as chair, he and his staff had some shady communications to try to benefit that platform. Now, crypto bros and the casinos are banding together to try to tank his nomination. 2, this is also a signal for everything that's wrong with crypto right now. What I really mean is that it might be good for a few crypto companies, but it's not good for the general ecosystem or for the public. Recall we did that deep dive on the Clarity Act, Congress's crypto market structure bill. And it would hand most oversight of crypto to the CFTC. Crypto being a $4 trillion 24/7 market filled with retail customers, which the CFTC has no real history interacting or protecting. Now with this whole new market it needs to oversee, you'd think that the Clarity Act would give some money and some staff to the CFTC, but it doesn't. It's important to remember what kind of agency the CFTC is. Its roots are as an agricultural futures agency. Think wheat, pork bellies, orange juice concentrate. That's first principles for their staff and their expertise. It's also why at Congress, the CFTC is overseen by the House Committee on Agriculture and the Senate Committee on Agriculture, and not by the House Financial Services Committee or the Senate Banking Committee. And as absurd as it is to not increase the CFTC's budget or staff when it's going to oversee this whole new market, is that the CFTC is actually cutting its staff. It's already reduced it by 15%, and in the next budget cycle, it has asked to reduce it by even more. Staff is so overwhelmed, it can't even keep up with the contracts it needs to review. Think about what that means in the future when crypto does land at the doorstep of the CFTC. Recall in 2022 when there was the big FTX collapse because Sam Bankman-Fried stole $8 billion of his customers' funds. A lot of people said if the CFTC had been regulating FTX, that theft couldn't have happened. But if all FTX did was register, but the CFTC didn't have time to review its books, didn't have time for any examinations or investigations, how would it have practically ever discovered anything? What should be even more troubling is that since 2022, when the collapse of FTX was limited to the crypto ecosystem, crypto is now much more intermingled with other financial products. When another large-scale fraudulent scheme happens, the contagion won't be limited to crypto, and it'll expand into pension funds and retirement accounts and the stock market. This is like the equivalent of if the DMV were to just issue licenses for anyone willing to pay, but they're not going to do a vision test, they're not going to do a driving test, and there's no one to enforce traffic laws anymore. Now 3, the Democrats actually created this problem, and they're making it worse. Throughout the Biden administration, the Democrats never created any sort of crypto policy. They just tried to wish it away. Instead of fixing that and owning up to it, they're just doing whatever big crypto and the Republicans tell them to do. They know as well as I do the CFTC can't do anything right now. Staff is getting gutted. The Clarity Act that they voted for does not provide the CFTC with any new resources or budget. 78 Democrats voted with Republicans so the Clarity Act could pass overwhelmingly, 294 to 134. So now they're just handing over this rubber stamping regime to give the illusion of regulation with none of the protection and none of the consequences. And you know who pays attention to this stuff? Young men who own crypto at over 40%. The same young men who had voted for Democrats in 2020 and then flipped 30 points to vote against Democrats in 2024. But as we know, the polls are telling us that there's no love for Trump among these young men. Even among those who voted for him, his approval rates are dropping by 30%. And they certainly don't have any love for big crypto companies. But these young men aren't going to suddenly vote Democrat if the Democrats aren't going to give them a reason to vote for them. Democrats need to show that they're willing to admit that they made mistakes and that they can learn something new. If they just took a real crypto policy stance to benefit people instead of companies, it would be a win-win. It would be a win for the public and it'd be a win for the Democrats. But if the Democrats don't start fixing their mistakes, the crypto failures that will happen won't merely be market failures, they will be political ones. I hope you found this helpful. Drop me any questions you got in the comments and follow me for more breakdowns about crypto and politics.